This is the Insta360 X3 and this is the Insta360 X3 invisible dive case. Is it worth $100 and will it give you a better underwater experience, and is this something you should buy? In today's video I'm gonna give you my honest review of this dive case and my experience using it, and hopefully by the end of this video you'll have a better understanding of whether or not it's worth getting this, even if you're gonna use it 1 week a year. Now let's start with old versus new and the improvements and why you should use a dive case with the Insta360 X3. So if you already have the first generation of the X3 dive case, you probably know that this looks awful. And in order to get a good looking image, you have to place it in an upwards position, which kind of takes away the whole 360 invisible shooting experience, right? And trying to frame yourself, you get this weird look with the bottom of the dive case, which also makes the whole framing more challenging when you go back and edit your videos later. But with the new improved invisible dive case, they've actually managed to make it invisible, and it gives you this amazing underwater perspective compared to the old dive case. And you may also ask, why don't just use the X3 without a dive case, because it's waterproof down to 10 meters. Well, if you shoot in single lens mode, it would probably work good, but then the whole 360 experience is also gone and the quality is not going to be as good as a GoPro, for example. So when using the X3 without a dive case, you'll have this visible stitch line which basically splits the camera in two, and it looks really bad. So when you go for a dip with the X3, it's really important to have a dive case, and some dive cases looks better than others, and the best option at this time is the invisible dive case from Insta360. And it's also pretty easy to start and stop recording or take a photos or use any other shooting modes underwater as well. But since you don't have access to the shutter button underwater because you use the dive case, you need to enable this dive case mode, which you'll find by swiping down on the main screen here. And when you enable this, the shutter button will be redirected to the quick switch button and your power button will become the mode selection. And this is basically everything you have to do in order to shoot videos and take photos underwater with the new invisible dive case. Now, what are the benefits of using the X3 in the water with the invisible dive case? Well, I would say the freedom you have and the endless reframing options. And out of the box, I also think the stabilization of the X3 is far better than any other action camera on the market. And I've actually been testing this over the past year now, and the X3 always ends up being better. But in terms of quality, I also think the regular action cameras like GoPro and the Action 4 brings higher quality, but they're also limited to what you point them at, which means you'll end up capturing less footage, and whatever you capture is what you get. But I guess it comes down to how you want to share your underwater experience and how much you want to get out of it. And let's say you're in the same boat as me and you have like a week or two a year which you can use these type of things. You want your shots to be perfect, and you also want to capture everything at the same time. The more you capture, the better experience you're gonna have. And once you get down there, if you're really lucky and hit the right spot, it's gonna be extremely overwhelming because you're gonna see so many fish, and you might find yourself just looking every direction, turning your head every single second. And when you get back to your office or to your computer to check out the footage, you'll end up seeing that, well, the camera was moving as well, because you will probably move the camera like this. So I would say that's the biggest advantage with the Insta360 X3 and the invisible dive case, because it doesn't really matter how you move it or if you move it at all, it will still capture everything. And when you're done, you can adjust the framing of the clips later as you want in the Insta360 Studio or mobile app. And also a pro tip to get better image quality underwater is to either set the sharpness to medium or high. For shots above water, I recommend using low and do the adjustments in post. But underwater, you need to add that extra in-camera sharpness to make it a little bit more crisp. Otherwise, you might end up having a clip which looks a little bit too washed out. And also, regardless of camera, try to shoot your videos during a bright sunny day. In order to get the best possible footage, you need a lot of light down there. So the best case scenario is midday with no clouds. As for color profiles, I would say vivid because it adds that extra colors when you shoot videos underwater, and that's basically it. All other settings set to auto. But the big question is, and what really matters, is the price. So is it worth $100? Now, I can't speak for everyone, but every single time I've been in Hawaii, there's only been a few times I've ended up with amazing underwater footage when using the GoPro 10, 12, and the Action 3 and 4. So I kind of lost the interest because they all look the same. But with the X3 now, I had a whole different experience and I actually had a lot of fun using it. My diving experience also got much better because I didn't have to move the camera, so I could basically hold the camera in one position and still look around without feeling that I missed something, and then later I could just change the framing to whatever I wanted. So $100 for this case. Yes, I can highly recommend it even if you're going to use it one time a year, because it adds something different and you're going to have a lot more fun when you use it because it is a 360 camera. But if you don't have the X3, which I think is a must-have camera, I have a couple of videos on this camera, reviews and some creative shot slates and everything down in the description below for you to check out, which might help you make a buying decision based on your needs. And now that I've been testing the dive case for a few weeks, I can honestly say that the Insta360 X3 is my #1 go-to camera. This is a game changer for me. It makes it so much more fun to go out and shoot because I can get all these creative shots. The X3 is also on sale now, 10% off, so if you have been eyeballing this, make sure to get it now before the stock ends. There is a link down in the description below. I'm also curious to know if you already have the X3 and the invisible dive case, so if you do, is it worth $100? You tell me. So that's everything I had for you today. I really hope that you enjoyed this review of the Insta360 invisible dive case, and if you enjoyed it, make sure to drop a like for the algorithm, and if you're brand new here, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on the next video. And with that said, take care and I will catch you soon.